If you've ever struggled to communicate your feelings and your truth to your partner, or if you're afraid of tapping into intimacy and going deep, then stick around because in this episode, we're going to be diving into the best self-intimacy cards, and we're going to be pulling cards literally in real time to showcase what it would look like to have prompts to be able to discuss deep things with your partner. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 16 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation and working with thousands of clients, we've found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset that aligns with your authenticity, integrity, and soul purpose, regardless of your past.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness. We don't shy away from the taboo topics like sex, hypnosis, meditation, and exploring altered states of consciousness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. Oh my gosh, we just celebrated Valentine's Day and had literally no plan for this upcoming podcast, which is funny for us because we usually are mapped out and have like a clear path and clear plan. But this specific week, because we were out of town for Chris's birthday week, I think everything has just hit the fan. It's all gone bananas. But this week, we wanted to share something super fun because it's a week of love. And Chris and I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and you called it like a decade ago. We're really known for teaching relationships. And at our couples retreat last year, we wanted to find ways to help deepen the relationship for partners and what's worked for us. So funny enough, on Valentine's Day, Chris and I busted out the intimacy deck from Best Self Co., who sponsored our Evolved Couples Retreat. This deck helps to dive into different categories like past, relationships, life, about you, intimacy, which Chris literally pulled every card from the red pile. I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. And even random questions that help to prompt conversation. I know that communication is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to relationship and getting on the same page. So if you struggle with that, maybe cards and prompts like these will help you to dive in deep.
You know, I really love it because it's almost like a lazy man's way of doing things. A lot of times we don't know the questions to ask our partners and they don't know what necessarily answers to give us. And it's fascinating to find out, even if you've spent years with somebody, how different your opinion can be from theirs and how different you can think their opinion is. And so sometimes when you think, oh, my partner is really into this, they really like this thing or they don't like this thing, sometimes you're just wrong if you haven't already discussed that. And so everybody knows we go on.
Or you change.
And so we go on all the time, these long walks, and on our drive, which is another thing that we do for long periods of time so that we can get into discussions, because I think it takes a little time to get past the
surface level conversation.
It really does. It takes just a few minutes for you to relax enough, even when you love the person, even if you've been together for a long time. It takes a little bit of time for you to get out of the laundry list details and the to-do list and to relax enough to say, okay, here's how I really feel. Like the walls just come down a little, just enough from the normalcy of day-to-day life, and you can express yourself and start to get into things where you're like, wow, I didn't know you were really into that. Oh man, these are things that we could be going, or these things are meaningful to you. Oh my gosh, let's start doing these more. And it opens up answers that you didn't have before.
It's so true. Even last night when we were pulling these cards for our Valentine's Day ritual, it was interesting because I would ask you a question and you would give me your Chris Carmichael answer, and I would wait and pause before going to the next one, like just a few seconds long enough, and then you'd give me your real like deep answer, which both were true, but one was more like on the surface and one was more like, but really like, here's something even deeper.
Well, I think it's because it takes so much time for, when you have something that's deep, it's going to take so much longer than just quick, just like a recipe. If you're going to microwave something, hey, you can have it in 30 seconds. And sometimes we give out these microwave answers just because it's easy for us to deal with the surface thing and just hand it to you, even though it's not always a bad thing. We have to be able to have those answers so that we can have quick conversations, and it doesn't take 4 hours for making every single decision. Like, we need those too. But it's important that when you start to dive into these kind of things, sometimes the answer doesn't even come out the same day. Because I've noticed that some of the questions pop back into my head later this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I could have added this thing on. And it wasn't like I'd spent time thinking about it. It just showed up because my mind says, oh, hey, here's another deep answer I forgot to tell you about. Oh, hey, here's another deep answer I forgot to tell you about. So it's really important when you start opening up the communication. For one, when you do these, always have like a really loving heart, because sometimes when you get into conversations, you don't realize what triggers you may be tapping into. You don't realize what pain points people might have that are associated with certain topics, especially when it comes to love, especially when it comes to what relationships have happened in the past, what trauma they've gone through. Like that can open up big cans of worms. So anytime that you start to communicate with your partner, this is not from a judgy spot. And if you go from that spot, these are going to be detrimental. But if you go from that like loving place, the other person starts to feel supported and heard, which they may not have been before.
Right. And that's what building intimacy is about, is holding that sacred space for your partner to grow, to reflect, to see themselves, to notice their triggers, to, see if they lash out at themselves, at other people, and just kind of witness what comes up. And that may not be the case. This may just spark all kinds of deep love and you're in the sack in like 2 seconds. But I know that for the ones listening that have that trouble in expressing themselves, or even bringing up their past, they're like lock and key and like everything else is great, but we just don't go there. This might be the thing that helps soften that, scariness of being vulnerable.
So the last point is before we actually dive into a couple of these cards, which we're just going to draw and then give real answers to, I think that one of the big parts is to always make sure that before you do this, just as if you go into anything that's important in your life, before you do this, always make sure that you're already in a good mood. Don't start this off if you're angry or mad or feeling jealous or envious or any kind of those feelings, or you're feeling afraid or any kind of thing like that. This is all for fun. This is all to enjoy the other person more, to enjoy yourself more, and to build a stronger relationship. It's not something to make you feel mad or go to bed angry or anything like that. Always just start off in a good place and keep that good space up. And if you start to not feel that way, drop everything that you're doing.
So here's a pro tip that you can do with your partner to help get you synced on the same page. What we did at the Evolved Couples Retreat is we had our partners sit across from each other and eye gaze while they were deep breathing together and listening to their song. We even had them dance. So the song that you played at your wedding, or that song that reminds you of your relationship, like play that in the background, sit together, sync up your breath, lock each other in the eye and gaze deep in each other's soul, and set that intention that you're creating that sacred space to be able to learn more and discover more about not only yourself, but also your partner. Yeah,
and we go wild at the couples retreat because we have the space to do that. We have plenty of time. We have plenty of it's all set up in a certain way. So if you don't have that, just be in sync doing something. Walk together, skip together, jog, just something that's together. You can just take deep breaths together. That's fine. Just start the sync up process, because you'll notice, especially when you're intimate in the bedroom, one of the really fascinating things to do, if you can pause for a second, is to listen to how the other person's breathing in relation to your own breathing. Find out if you're completely synced up, if you're on completely opposite spectrums. So when they inhale, maybe you're exhaling at that time. Figure out where you are. Your bodies want to sync up. When you fall out of rhythm, that it causes a division, and you telegraph that automatically, even though we don't consciously ever talk about it.
So beautiful and so true.
All right, so let's get into the first card. I'm going to draw one of these. How many cards did you say are here? There's a ton.
I think there's 150 cards in the deck.
All right, so it's a lot of stuff, and they're all separated into multiple categories by color on the card. So I'm just going to draw one. I'll answer one, and then Britt will go from there.
Yeah, 150 prompts. And here's a really great quote on the box. It says, "I wonder if this is how people always get close. They heal each other's wounds. They repair the broken skin."
So the other point too is that intimacy a lot of times is not always just beautiful stuff, people in lingerie, sexy time, great touches, pleasure. It's not always that. So there is a little extra shadowy side that we have to dive into so that we can open up. Once we heal those wounds, though, then everything starts to fall into place.
Oh my gosh, one more. Here's one more quote. It's on the other side of the box. It says, "If fear is the great enemy of intimacy, love is its true friend."
Yeah, so if you want to really show up for your partner, it starts in moments like this where you listen to them. Don't add your own emotional side on top of it, and let them have that space to talk. So I'm going to ask the first question. The first card I've got, this is a blue card, so it's a relationship one. And it says, "If our relationship ended tomorrow, what 3 things would you miss the most?
Oh my gosh.
So they're deep. They can be deep.
Oh my gosh. Like laundry for one. Like for sure. The laundry.
See, quick answers, quick microwave answers.
Oh my gosh. I would miss your devotion. Like I've never felt so seen and supported by someone in my entire life, from every area, from doing hair to talking to dead people to coaching to hosting crazy retreats or wild events or dragging you across the country. Like you say yes, even if you don't want to sometimes. And I don't know, that's really beautiful. And I would miss that so much. I would miss all of our inside jokes too. Like we were just talking this morning how we have our own language. Like when we talk, we speak in code and people have no clue what we're talking about. So I think I would miss having that person, that the only other person that knows the secret language.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, these are so also, if you have a partner, ask them some of these questions. Ask them as they come up. If you don't have this deck, just pull from a couple of these questions. Ask them. Just spend a moment. Get connected. It's so good to do this. I like doing this at least once a week. I really think that intimacy should be more into like the three times a week where you're talking, where you're just connecting like this. But if you can knock it out once a week, I'm telling you that the difference in your relationship and what your understanding of them will be, and what your understanding also of what yourself is, because these kind of reflections, a lot of us don't journal enough. And so we really don't tap into how do we really feel. We're always just like thinking about what the next thing is. And so it's real important to spend a little bit of extra time just with yourself too. A lot of these intimacy cards can just be on what if I were to lose my life tomorrow, what were the 3 things that I would miss the most about myself? You know, you can add questions like that. Like, what are those things that you really yearn for? They're like, oh, these are the important things.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, I'm going to pull one from the random pile. Yellow. It says, what was your first impression of me?
First impression. Okay, so when I'm going to talk about the first day I met you in person, because on the phone's a little different. The very first day when you messaged me back on that MySpace message, I thought, what an asshole. So my first impression was, what an asshole. But it's because
mission accomplished.
I wrote this thing. You know, I added her on MySpace. I'm like, she's just different looking. Was really the thing. It was that pink hair. The pink hair. You've been riding that pink hair wave for a long time. So she looked different than anyone I'd ever seen in my whole life. So I'm like, what's going down over here? And I added her, and then of course she just messaged me back with the asshole response of, if you're going to add me, at least say something intriguing. So it was that was the first impression. The impression when I actually got to Britt in person is that she has, or you have a way of taking up space in the room so that everyone can't help but notice you. It's like there is something around you. We walked in, so Britt was working at Claire's at the time. Our first actual meeting, Britt's at Claire's at her work. So Claire's is a place where you buy like jewelry for young children. Little knickknacks, jewelry stuff. And she's in there working, but I'll tell you what, she wasn't just working there, she was owning the whole room. So if you've ever seen somebody sometimes when you get to watch them in their element and they're controlling things, no, you do this, you step back over here, everybody get back. It was just, I got to see Britt, I was like, oh, dang, this woman can crack the whip. And then what I noticed when I got to spend time with the rest of your family is that you live in a very matriarchal family. Like a lot of people don't have that. They're used to a huge father figure at the head of that's not your family. The mom side, the mothers in the family are extremely strong, very powerful, strong-willed women, stubborn as hell. And so that was the feeling that I got. I'm like, oh, damn, she's somebody who will throw down. So the feeling was like, no matter what we would go up against or what Britt would go up against, I knew that she was going to knock it out of the park.
And I have.
You have. No doubt. No doubt. That was definitely my first impression.
I do. I remember that so vividly. Just like 15 people crowded around me while I'm trying to pierce some baby's ears. Like, back the fuck up, people. Give me some space and boundaries, please. I've been, thinking back to my response, like that was hurt, protected, walls up me. And, in our masterclass on Valentine's Day, we talked about breaking down those walls. And I think back now to being just turning 20 years old when I met you. I was so guarded and so protected. So thank you for helping me break down those walls and let love and opportunities in, like we taught in the class.
So another important part that's getting mentioned right now is that a lot of times, not only people's first responses, but how they act at different times in their life is a lot of times going to be based on what they've gone through. So if they've gone through a lot, if they've struggled a lot, if they've grown up in certain families, if they've been to certain schools, if they've been ridiculed or abused in any way, even verbally or just, mentally, emotionally. It doesn't have to be something that's physical. Sometimes people have been through a lot of things in their own mind, even if the other person that actually did it to them didn't mean to. And so it's always important as you get into a relationship, you notice that everything's not just a stab at you. It's like the other person's not always, sometimes it's just them trying to deflect off of them because they've been wounded. And so it's super important to get vulnerable in this way and to realize that, like, oh man, things have gone down in their life. Dang, this is, I'm just going to open up my heart to them a little more and to love them just a little bit more. All right, next question. So this is going to come from the green pile, and it is the life pile. And it says, how did I make you smile this week?
My gosh, it's like the second I wake up and see your face, I smile. Like every morning you're the first person I think of as like, where's Foof? Like, where's he at? Like, are you in here? Where are you at? You normally wake up before me. So, to not like being cheesy, but being realistic, like every morning when I wake up and see your face, I smile. Like I genuinely am overjoyed that you're alive and that you're there and that, the next day to explore an adventure. If there was something specific, gosh, you just like, no, you're just so incredible, boo. Fuck. I don't know. That it's so hard because there's so many things, but one thing that's, I guess, coming to mind right now is me ordering the new Valentine's Day wreath and you wanting to be able to put it up while I was like away, to surprise me, but it didn't come in the mail. So you told me about it, and that just you telling me about it brings me joy and made me smile, thinking like he's so thoughtful and he cares about like the smallest little details, and that made me smile.
Okay, more details, because this is all stuff that I've learned along this journey with Britt, and listening to other women open up, especially in the salon, about what they want. And that is that, and also the John Gray book, the Women Are From Mars, or the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Venus book, which is really fascinating. And one of the huge things that I picked up from that book and listening to people is that everything that you do is on a point scale, and you only get 1 point for each thing that you do. So if you buy them a brand new car, you got a point. Even if you bought them a brand new Range Rover, all tricked out, whatever the high-end stuff is, you still got 1 point. Now, if you do something, you get them a card, you get them a flower, guess what? Those are 2 points. So things aren't all it's all separate. It's all separated out. Like for men, it's like one big thing. It's something special, something different. And for them, it can be a lot of little things. And so adding in the little bitty things in life, also the big things too. You don't want to just have a bunch of little things. But if you'll add in the little bitty things along the way, there's like a different level of appreciation that happens. I know what you're talking about. Whenever I come pick you up from the salon, because we only have one car, and so I drive Brett literally everywhere. And so whenever I come pick you up at the salon, your face and your like enthusiasm and excitement, and you're like hop in and jump in. And I know for some reason you can hear how I sound when I enter the hallway, even though I don't even know how that's a thing, but and I can hear you, just like there's this like sound that goes off, just this excitement level. And as a partner, just seeing your excitement is, to say it's a turn on is the wrong word, but it's so magnetic, and it's like, oh my gosh, this night's going to be awesome. Even if the night is just a regular old night and we're just sitting down and eating leftovers from the night before. It's just, there's something about that feeling when you look into your partner's eyes and you feel appreciation and you hear it in the tone of their voice, and they give you that big, huge hug the second that they see you. You're like, holy smokes, I hit the lotto. This is amazing. So to me, thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, I love you, boo. All right, we're going to go with a relationship question. Bam. Describe a time when I disappointed you, but you acted like nothing was wrong.
I don't think that's ever happened. And mainly because if I feel a certain way, I always want to tell you. I think I've sort of been brutally honest from the beginning. And I know that's always been a little bit of if I ask him a question, he will tell me the truth boldly. And I have not had that. There's not been a thing where we didn't just talk about it immediately. The only thing from the beginning, see, here we go, microwave answer.
It's the book.
Sliced.
Yeah.
No, you didn't disappoint me, but that is a great story. So whenever I was younger, I was really big into any kind of weightlifting, any kind of like changing your body, changing the shape of your body. I thought that was so cool that bodybuilders and athletes and different kind of people were able to just manipulate how they looked just on the whim and how fast they could do it. Really fascinated me. And so I there's a book called Sliced that exists.
With a D, everyone. Sliced with a D.
And so I'm such a big reader. And in the beginning, Britt would always do these little bitty things that she knew that I loved. It was so cute because like when we first met, Britt couldn't make any food whatsoever. And she attempted on my first birthday, it was a birthday, right?
Yeah.
Birthday, banana nut bread, which is my favorite. And so it's just, she's always had like these little bitty things. So I'm super into this. Britt's not into this. And so there's a book called Slice that talks about carb cycling, which is like an advanced technique that bodybuilders use. And so I'm so excited about this book. And there's only a little bitty section in the book that I even need. And I can't find it anywhere. And Britt's going to get this thing for me as a present. Ends up sneakily letting her friend get it so that I won't find out about it. And the book's called Slice. And there's no D on the end.
It has a knife on the front.
It's like a fiction book. It's totally different. No, that wasn't disappointing. That's great. No, I think that that's a huge contention, and I think that's one of the reasons when we started walking all the time, it made it so that those things never come up. Like I'm never like we're on the same page, and I think it's just because of those conversations. I'm sure there was a time early on when probably everything was a disappointment, and to both of us. And I think that's because we didn't necessarily yet know how to live our own lives, much less work with someone else and what their habits are. I mean, the biggest thing early on was you would never put that toilet seat down until finally it started happening. I don't like the toilet seat up. I don't like looking at toilet water when I walk in the bathroom. I don't want that to be a part of my life. I need the thing down. I need the bathroom nice. I need the Chris Throne.
Oh my Lord.
All right, so next question. We are going to go for, I grabbed another one of these. How should household chores, this is from the Life deck, this is the green deck. How should household chores be divided up between us? Explain.
Laundry for you, 100%. And I'll fold. I mean, I feel like we do a really good job at balancing our chores. Like we figured out in the beginning what do you like about the chores and what do you not like. And I don't like doing the dishes. I've never liked doing them since I was a kid. So that's just like a non-negotiable for me. And there are some non-negotiables for Chris. What's one for you that I'm like hanging up the clothes? That's something you won't do. You'll do the laundry part. You'll wash them, but you absolutely won't hang them up.
It's not that I won't. If I'm going to hang up clothes in a closet, it's going to be random. I mean, it's going to look like I just kind of threw it all in together. And you're so visual and so like organized in your brain and like the way you separate everything in life. And so the fact that my wardrobe, as I'm looking at it right now, since we are in the closet, every single thing is color coded. It's then decided on based on length of the sleeve. And then we have nice shirts, and then we have like coats. And all the jeans are in a certain section based on color of the jean, and then it's pants, dress shirts, and then sweaters all based on color. And so I never did that. I would still not do that. It's so beautiful to see, but like I don't know how you, and your side of the closet, besides being ridiculous, is the exact same way. And so I think it's really great when you're thinking about chores to find out what does the person hate or what will they tolerate, and then what are they actually good at. Because there are some people that like doing certain things, but they're not actually good at it, and so they probably should not be doing it.
Well, and just recently we were talking about how we're going to like change the way that we meal plan and pick up groceries and things like that. And Chris was like, well, I'll go while you're at the salon on Saturday, so you don't have to. And I was like, no, don't take that away from me. I love going to the grocery store with you. So it's funny how there might be chores that you could do together that you actually enjoy and can turn into an intimate experience.
Find out the little parts in your relationship that are the major contention points. In other words, where are you arguing, or is the night slow for you? So in other words, are you always fighting about like what the next meal is? Are you fighting about the trash didn't get taken out? Like whatever that is, you got to make an effort to solve that as soon as possible. For us, we have a list of restaurants that we can go to, and then I have a list of meals that we like to eat based on how long it takes to make them.
Yeah, even when we're cooking, like we divvy up like the experience where I don't like to measure or read the whatever that recipe. It like hurts my brain, but I will put it all together. I'll mix it up. I'll put it on the tray.
Plate it really pretty.
Yeah, I'll make it beautiful, but I don't want to read the fucking half a teaspoon. Like fuck that. Like it drives me
I love
crazy.
it. I'm like, let's do it. It's gonna be
Chris
perfect.
is like, let me read it 35 times, and I will also double check in Spanish just to make sure in the metric system and the standard American units of measure.
When a process is laid out, I feel so many times, too often, we just add our glamour to it, even though we don't know what we're doing yet often. So like I want to follow the thing to the T, and then next time I'm going to follow it my way, change it up a little bit. But I like that.
Here we go. I'm going to dive into the intimacy pile. What kind of power dynamics excite you?
I think that
me bossing bitches around.
You know what? I'll tell you that the all of them. I think most power dynamics excite me because we too often play one singular role in our lives in terms of power dynamics. So we either choose to be extremely aggressive, or for the most part, we choose to be passive. And sometimes it's different whether you have like kids or a partner or a business. But a lot of times, most of us can only really do one. And so it's extremely important to find a space, especially when you're with a partner, to be able to explore all of them together and to not be like judgmental or weird about it, because this allows the person to live a full life. Many of us have been cornered our entire lives to living a certain way. It's a societal standard, it's maybe a religious standard, or just the way things are being done. And so it's great to be able to watch how different power dynamics, not only in the bedroom, but also in other parts of your life, just in the household chores like we were talking about, just in making decisions on where to eat or what things to do, giving both opportunities for both partners is extremely powerful. I like the fact that I feel like we're continuously flip-flopping in between this, because same as before, I want to magnify your strengths, and whatever I have a weakness in, I always want to be bringing it up a little bit. And so when I'm in a power position or I'm in the non-power position, either one of those, I want to be working on both parts of me, because I'm a whole. I don't have to be one thing. I want to be able to switch to whatever works in that moment. So to me, I like it all. Like, I'm not trying to push really anything away.
Yeah, I agree. I think we do a really good job at going back and forth between who is in the driver's seat at one time versus the other, and giving each other space to shine. And I think it's really, really powerful.
All right, next card. I'm going to draw from that blue deck. I like the blue ones. They're fascinating.
Relationship.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
Yep.
What's your ideal romantic vacation?
Bitch, we're going to Santorini, okay? That's why it came back up.
This is always a topic, and this is something that I like to discuss too when you're out with friends, or when you're out with any kind of new people, or people that are newer to you, maybe friends, maybe they're acquaintances and they haven't been friends yet. I always am trying to find out what that person views as beautiful. And so I know this backward and forward because Britt has been saying this.
Okay, so listen up. We're going to Santorini. We're going to Switzerland. We're going to New Zealand. We're going to Fiji.
So Britt doesn't have one ideal romantic vacation. It's a 10-year vacation.
Literally, if we have to just like go from each one to the next one and call it one vacation, then that's fine. Also, what are the pearls? What are the little string of islands off of India? The Maldives. I'm like, come on, get it, girl. We're also going to the Maldives.
I love it.
And I'll make a list of other things.
Okay, another thing I want to tell you about, if you don't know about this yet, there's a show, and I don't know what channel it comes on, but there's a show, if you're into the United States and trying to find out new places for you to go inside the continental United States, there's a show called Aerial America, and each episode is on one different state. So like Arizona will have one, and then, so on and so forth. And so it shows you so many different parts of that state. And like, I've been in Texas my whole life. Both of us have. And how many things I didn't know about Texas or didn't know about some of the beauty. I'm like, where is this? This is not near where I live, and it's not that far. And so it's really important to start to reach out and start to know there's so many beautiful spots to go to. And a lot of times they're going to be right in your own home backyard, and you may have just missed them, or they may not be the normal tourist attractions. There's some scenery, especially now that we've got drone footage and helicopters and all sorts of cool stuff that are taking this kind of photography. You can start to see things where normally we're never able to look at it in that way. And so really powerful. Aerial America, I love it.
It's good stuff. We have booked a couple of different vacations based on getting to see that experience and not knowing it was there.
Travel's a big thing for us. I think I remember the first time we traveled, how important I saw it was just in the growth of our relationship, just being able to go through new challenges, trying to figure things out in a new place where we don't have the safety of our normal home and routine. I think it was really, not that we should go somewhere sketchy.
We've done that.
Yeah, forget that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when I say all of these, like what may seem like big, extravagant places, is because for the last 17 years, Chris and I have been traveling all over the globe, and as well as all over America. And so our wanderlust soul and spirit is like searching for home and just learning new cultures. And so travel for sure. We chose not to have children so that we could spend more time traveling. Although the animals are a little, All right. The last card is from the intimacy pile. What's your favorite time of day for sex?
Well, one of the first times that Britt and I were ever on TV together, they came out. I have no idea why this happened, but they came out to the salon. So I got in a motorcycle accident, and it put me in a place where I couldn't get around very much. And so for a good while, I stayed up at the salon with Britt. So I would sit out, I'd hang out with their clients. I would go up there and do salon things. And so one day I'm just sitting outside, and this TV crew comes in, and they say, "Hey, we want to interview you guys." And I think at the time it's probably because we were tattooed, and
we looked wild.
Looked a little different. And so they come in, and they want to interview us for sex, and especially me. And they started asking, it was getting winter time, and they were asking, are you okay with your partner not shaving their legs during winter? And I said, if the guy is opposed to hair on the leg or hair anywhere or has any kind of complaints like that, he shouldn't be having sex at all. How could I care? We should be able to do it any time of day. So the answer for my question is any time of day is the right time of day for sex. It doesn't matter. For convenience factor, nighttime's the best. You're already, I've gotten to where I like 2 showers a day now. And so I've gotten to where I like it at night because it's the convenience of it. It's already, I'm getting bed. We get to hug on each other for a little bit. There's like a time of intimacy that's natural. But if it were right now, it'd be right now. So
all right, so let's wrap this thing up. And
love you guys. Talk soon.
No, but seriously, whether you're in a relationship or you're looking to attract that partner, this month in the Elevated Life Club, we talked all about attracting love and opportunities. And funny enough, it sounds like it's about we got to get another partner, but the entire training ended up stemming around self-love and building that foundation of trust with yourself.
Yeah, because you have to realize that you are who you're with your whole life. It's you. I'd love to see it be you and somebody else, but the truth is it's always going to be you. You know that for a fact. And so as long as you can improve your own life, your own mental attitudes about yourself, your own beliefs about what your possibilities and opportunities are in life, what your skills can get you, who you can attract, what you are able to achieve, if you can't do that, all is for naught. The second that you can start to love yourself, the second that you can start to attract opportunities because of those beliefs, because of how you're developing your own talents, because of how you're caring for yourself and caring for the world, all things start to just fall into place. And when you hear people say, well, I got in the zone, or it was really easy for me, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought it was that hard, but it seems like I'm so lucky these days, it's because they've started to do that. So we wanted to bring in those kinds of mindsets for our elevators, because I don't believe that people should have to try so hard in life all the time. Some things in life will be hard, but when it comes to loving ourselves, when it comes to having new opportunities in our lives, that should be something that's a given.
Oh, I love it so much. It got me so emotional. I literally was moved to tears in inspiring the group to keep their heart open if they've built walls up of protection, to know that love is possible no matter where you're at in your journey or what's happened to you in the past. So if you're not an elevator and this sounds like a topic that you want to dive more into, join us in the club at theelevatedlifeclub.com, and you can sign up for only $7 for a 14-day trial. In that trial, you'll be able to access the entire club, including other masterclasses on intimacy, sex, attracting partnerships, other things that will help you to develop not only your personal self-relationship, but ones to attract the perfect partner that aligns with who you authentically are now. All right, we hope you loved this episode. This was such a fun, impromptu experience. We loved it so much last night. It opened and sparked great conversation, so we thought we'd carry that conversation over here on the podcast. So let us know how you enjoyed it. Check out the Best Self Intimacy cards. These are incredible. And if you've been thinking about joining us at the Evolved Couples Retreat, I've got good news for you. I have literally scoured all of Costa Rica, and I am putting out my feelers to land a spot there. We are looking for a tropical, ocean, in the jungle kind
romantic
of experience. Yeah, like high level romance here for an entire week. So we're looking forward to sharing a little bit more about that coming soon. We've been pondering and, doing our research, and it's just, we're so excited. I can't believe it's been literally next week would be 1 year from the Evolved Couples Retreat. So I am just really excited to share more information about that coming soon.
This is an exciting time right now. This is the season of love. Make sure you reach out to somebody right now and tell them that you love them. If you don't have anybody that comes to the top of the mind, go look in the mirror, tell yourself that you love you, wrap your arms, give yourself a big hug. We love you. We'll catch you in the next episode. Until that time, peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life podcast. If you loved this episode, please share that love by leaving us a 5-star review and spreading the good vibes on social. You can tag us at the Elevated Life Club. Want more wisdom from us? Become an elevator by joining us inside our monthly membership club at theelevatedlifeclub.com to discover mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a live group coaching masterclass, guided meditations, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
It has all the tools, coaching, and community you need to level up, progress every month, and keep going in every area of your life consistently over the long term.
Join us in the club and start your transformation today by signing up at theelevatedlifeclub.com.